Hello, this class we are going to learn about the instructional design in ICT. So this unit deals with a brief introduction of the concept of instructional designs, need for instructional designs and level of instructional design. This is the objects. What is an instructional design? Many definitions exist for instructional design, all of them and an expression of underlying philosophies and viewpoints of what is involved in the learning process. Distinguishing the underlying philosophy of learning, what is the role of memory, how does transfer occur, types of learning are best explaining by their theory. Learning theories can help instructors and designers select the design model most concurrent with their educational philosophies. Instructional design definitions. Instructional design is a systematic process of translating general principles of learning and instruction into plans for instructional materials and learning. Instructional design is a systematic approach to planning and productive effective instructional material. It is similar to lesson planning but more elaborate and more detailed. In general, theory needs to move in the direction of flexibility and learner empowerment. If it is allow instructional design to keep up the technological and institutional changes like the chiropractor who realigns your spine, we might become healthier from the realignment of our theories. If we admit to an attempt to accommodate some of the uncertainty, indeterminism, and unpredictability that pervade our complex world, we will develop stronger theories and practices that will have more powerful effect of human learning. Instructional design is a process by which instruction, computer-based or not, is created. Instructional design provides a framework for the creative process of design and ensures the learners are not met. Why use instructional design? With the foundation of what is instructional design as we will now focus on the why of ID. Many classroom activities do not leave a trail that can be viewed by others. Instructional designs provide the learner and all involved in the process of teaching and learning a concrete plan and an evidence of what is and why it is being transacted in the teaching learning situation. Additional benefit instructional design offers e-learning. They say distance learning courses are likely to fail if they are delivered as if they were traditional courses. Pedagogy must drive the choice of instructional design, not the other way around. Compared with a human instructor, technology is less adaptive. Once a plan of integration is implemented, it is less likely to change it according to the student's reaction. Instructional design is important for both face-to-face and distance education system. Organizing a program of study without instructional design is to invite failure. Interestingly, as we can see in most of the instructional designs other than ADDIE, instructional design is carried out a process. It elaborates on the 4 levels of instructional design, emphasizing that in the process of instructional design, the teacher is often just one of the member of the team. The 4 levels of instructional designs are: Level 1, the course level with many objectives to achieve in the course. Often it is a curriculum level decision. Level 2, the lesson level where the course structure becomes clear with each lesson having specific outcomes. Level 3, the instructional event level where each objectives of the lesson is detailed out. Lesson 4. Level 4, the learning step level where each instructional event is planned and written in some script of self-instructional material. Overview of theories and models of instructional designs. A theory provides a general explanation for observation made over time. A theory explains and predicts behavior. A theory can never be established beyond all doubts. A theory may be modified. Theories seldom have to be thrown out completely if thoroughly tested, but sometimes a theory may be widely accepted for a long time and later disproved. Overview of learning theories. Learning theories have significant bearing on instructional design as there is a logical development from learning to instruction. Instructional design optimizes learning outcomes, while learning theories are the backbone of any instructional design. Instructional design is the articulation or the manifestation of the learning theories, and it is main aim to be optimized learning by using the known theories of learning. Strain 1994 state the wide divergence of views exists among the researchers in instructional design regarding the relative contribution of various schools of psychology, and claims that instructional design has grown out of the systems approach with its roots. Family, it's behavioralistic psychology that has dominated instructional designs since 1960. Learning theories and their implication for instructional design. Behavioralistic emphasizes changes in behavior as the outcome of learning. Behavioralistic principle of reinforcement, retention, and transfer of learning are important design considerations as learning is facilitated by reinforcing the correct performances. Statement of behavior objectives allow the learners to know specifically when they have achieved their objectives. In this way, learner can monitor their own progress. The knowledge of objectives serves as the reinforcing agent. The frequency of reinforcement is also a design issue. Presenting the content of instruction in a smaller steps followed by the testing and reinforcing performance immediately does this. Retention of the information for the learners is also important for the instructional designer. Materials that provide more reinforcing activities help in retention of what has been learned. Cognitive psychologists like Paget, Brunner, as well contended that learning in the internal process that cannot be observed directly. Learners first may remember and then retrieve information from the memory. Cognitivists emphasizes on how the human mind works. They put particular emphasis on memory. The implication of this memory for the instructional designers is they could use various techniques like chunking and meaningful organization of content and give practice for storing and retrieving information. Practices implies provisions of increased opportunity to the learners for reward and reinforcement. Cognitive structure are created through practice, which leads to an efficient use of long-term memory. For example, instructional designer include pictures used in video programs, practice exercises in the self-learning material that offer opportunity for practice. Practice is important in learning cognitive tasks as well as motor skill. Constructivities promotes an open-ended learning experience where methods and results of learning are not easily measured and are different for each learner. The implication of constructivism for the instructional designer is that the learner should attach themselves to the content domains. Constructivities believe that the learner occurs when it is situated, contextual, problem-based, social, and ethnic. Major characteristics of all instructional design theories: design orientation, identification of method of instruction and situations. Method of instruction can be broken down into more detailed components and methods. Choice of probabilistic method. The design theories have become important as they help the stakeholders to develop a vision of the instruction early in the design process. This means that the users play a major role in designing their own instruction. These theories are also important as they provide guidance at all three levels. Methods that best facilitate learning under different situations. Learning tools features that best allow an array of alternative methods to be made available to learners. System features that best allow an instructional design team to design quality learning tools. An electrostatic approach to theory in instructional design. The function of ID is more of an application of theory rather than a theory itself. Trying to tie instructional design to one particular theory is like a school versus the real world. behavioralism, cognitivism, constructivism work where and how we kit everything together, at least give ourselves some focus in our approach to instructional design. First of all, we do not need to abandon the system approach, but we must modify it to accommodate constructivity values. Introductory learning. Learners have very little directly transferable prior knowledge about the skill or content area. They are at the initial stage of schema, assembly, and integration. At this stage, classical constructional design is mostly suitable because it is predetermined. Advanced knowledge acquisition follows introductory knowledge and precedes expert knowledge at this point. Constructivity approach may be introduced. Expertise is the final stage of knowledge acquisition. In this stage, the learner is able to make intelligent decisions within the learner's environment. Having pointed out the different level of learning, Jonanan stresses that it is still important to consider the context before recommending any specific methodology. Cognitivity tasks requiring an increasing level of processing are primarily associated with strategy having stronger cognitive emphasis. Constructivity tasks demanding high level of processing are frequently learned with strategies advanced by the constructivity perspective. Example: situated learning, cognitive apprenticeship, social negotiation. Ertmer and New by 1993 believed that the strategies promoted by different learning theories overlap and that learning theory strategies are concentrated along different points of continuum depending on the focus of the learning theory, the level of cognitive processing required. Instructional design models. Instructional design, very loosely defined, is a system or a process of organization learning resources to ensure learning achieved established learning outcomes. As such, it is especially a framework for learning. Instructional design models grew out of the teaching profession and came to fruition during World War II, when the nation had to quickly train and troops mobilized to run equipment of war. A combination of face-to-face, hands-on, individualized, and group unit of instruction were developed. Here are some basic features: needs assessment, goal and objective identification, audience and setting analysis, content and delivery development, evaluation and redesign. Here are some different models for instructional design. m.ed refers to analysis, design, develop, implement and evaluate. This is possibly the best known design model and is frequently used in academic circles. Dick and Carroll model. The Dick and Carroll model prescribes Gane's book, The Condition of Learning, identifies the mental condition for learning. See the 9 events of instruction below. Gain attention, inform learner of objectives, stimulate recalls of prior learning, present stimuli material, provide learner guidance, provide feedback, assess performance, enhance retention transfer. According to McGriff-Kem, identify 9 key elements. Identify instructional problem, specific goal for designing an instructional program. Examine learner characteristics that should be receive attention during planning. Identify subject content. Analyzes task component related to state goals and purposes. State instructional objectives for learning. Sequence content within each instructional unit for logical learning. Design instructional strategy so that each learner can master the objectives. Plan the instructional message and delivery. Develop evaluations instruction to assess objectives. Select resources to support instruction and learning activities. So below illustrated the camp instructional design model. Figure 1. Support service, planning, revision, instructional problem, learner statistic, task analysis, instructional objectives, content sequences, instructional strategies, designing the message, instructional delivery, evaluation instruments. Rapid prototyping. Generally, rapid prototyping model involve learners and or subject matter expert SMEs interaction with the prototypes and instructional designer in a continuous review of cycle. Empathetic instructional design 5-step process: observe, capture data, reflect and analyze, brainstorm for solution, develop prototypes. ADDIE model. The ADDIE instructional design model is the generic process traditional used by instructional designer and training developers. The 5 phases: analysis, design, development, implementation and evaluation represent a dynamic, flexible guideline for building effective training and performance support tools. Analysis. The analysis phase, the instructional problem is clarified, the instructional goals for objectives are established, and the learning environment and learners' existing knowledge and skills are identified. Design phase deals with the learning objectives, assessment, instruction, exercises, content, subject matter analysis, lesson planning, and media selection. Development phase is where instructional design and developers create and assemble the content assets that were blueprinted in the design phase. In this phase, storyboards are created, content is written, and graphics are designed. If e-learning is involved, program work with develop and or integrate technology. Implementation. During the implementation phase, procedure for training facilitator learning is developed. The facilitator training should cover the course curriculum, learning outcome, method of delivery, testing procedures. Evaluation phase consists of 2 parts: formative and summative. Formative is present in each stage of ADDIE process. Summative consists of test design, domain specific criterion related reference item, and providing opportunity for feedback from the users which were identified. Dick and Gary model. Stage 1: instructional goal. Instructional goal: desirable state of affair by instruction. Instructional analysis. Stage 2: purpose: to determine skill involved in teaching goal. Task analysis: about the product of which would be listed steps and skill used at each step in the procedure. Entry behavior and learner characteristic. Third stage: purpose: to determine which the required enabling skill the learner bringing learning task. Stage for performance objectives: to translate the needs and goals into specific and detailed objectives. Stage 6: instructional strategy: to outline how instructional activities were related to accomplishment of the objectives. Stage 7: instructional material: to select printed or other media intended to convey events of instruction. Stage 8: formative evaluation: provide data for revising and improving instructional material. Stage 9: summative evaluation: to study the effectiveness of system as a whole conducted after system has passed through its formative stage. Stages of developing an instructional design. The purpose of this document is to outline 10 stages process commonly used by CAP media in the design and development of e-learning product. Stage 1: instructional goal: context analysis of discrepancy between the ultimate desired outcome and the present state of affair. Stage 2: need analysis: task analysis: determine and list the steps and skill used at each step in the given procedure involved in reaching the goal. Stage 3: audience and environmental analysis: the audience analysis determine which of the required enabling skill the learner bringing to the learning task, such as instructional skill, abilities, and personality traits. Stage 4: performance objectives: translate the needs and goals into specific detailed objectives by determining whether its instruction is related to its goals. Stage 5: criterion reference test item: diagnoses the necessary prerequisite for learning new skill through the testing the result of student learning. Such diagnoses include determination of performance measure before development of lesson plan and instructional material. Stage 6 Instructional Strategy. Outline how instructional activities related to the objectives, ideally by demonstrating knowledge of the learner, their learning preference, effectiveness of related teaching strategies. Stage 7 Instructional Materials. Ideally working closely with a subject matter expert, determine available instructional material and concrete a plan for developing unavailable but required material for ultimate convey the events of instruction. Stage 8 Development. While the larger burden of the stage falls off the developers of the coursework, the instructional design principle must fall into the process. Stage 9 Formative Evaluation. Provide data for revising and improving instructional material after the overall instructional design document is completed. Ideally, evaluation should take place in both small and representative sample environment. Summative evaluation. Study the effectiveness of system as a whole after the formative evaluation and actual implementation. A variety of methods can be used from simple surveys to actual related number. This stage generally occurs 6 to 12 months after training has been implemented.